Hey everybody, this is Ray Halstead and Patricia Nass with REH CPA. As we're coming into the fourth quarter here, we talk about some tax planning ideas. I've got Patty here with me. Patty, what can you give us some tax planning ideas for year end?
Sure. There are a couple of different things that the business can do to save some deductions or push income into the next year. So the first thing I want to talk about is the prepaying some expenses. So the IRS has a safe harbor rule where you can pay up to 12 months of expenses for the next year in the current year and get the deduction right away. So one idea for this is like your rent. Let's say you want to make your rent payments for the entire next year, but if you do it December 31st of this year, you get the deduction this year for that, which coordinate with your landlord because you never know. But if you send out a check to them on December 31st and they don't receive the check until next year, as long as you're both cash basis, then they don't have to report that as income until next year, and you get the deduction this year.
Yeah, make sure you coordinate that and they understand what you're doing.
Another thing to watch out for that, though, is that you do that this year. Well, then next year, you only have another 12 months to do ahead of time because you're already paid up for next year.
Right, so you're either going to have to do it every year, continually doing it every year, or if you just have 1 year where you really need to take that big tax deduction, but going forward, you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul at that point.
Yep. Another thought is to wait to bill your clients. So if you have a couple of clients that you haven't billed yet, you could wait till the end of the month and then hope that they pay them in January the next year. Obviously, if you need the cash flow, not a good idea.
Right.
But it's just a thought is that if you're not collecting the money this year and your cash basis, then you don't have to worry about that income until next year.
Cash basis being the key there, because if you're accrual basis and you invoice 12/31, you're going to have to recognize it anyway. So I guess the play there is be cash basis, send the invoice out on 12/31, and then push that cash out into the next year. Yeah.
Yep. Then another thought that we sometimes suggest to clients would be to, if you need equipment or vehicles, think about buying something before the end of the year. We have a couple of different options for accelerating depreciation. There's one Section 179 expensing that you can do. Bonus currently is up to 60% of the cost of what you purchased. So we have some options there to work with. So if only if you need the equipment.
Only
though.
if you need it. We go through this a lot of times with clients where, they say, what can I buy before year end? I was like, well, if you need something and you're going to use it for your business, then absolutely. But if you're not, don't spend $100,000 to save $30,000 in taxes, especially if you're just wasting the money. That just doesn't even make sense. So yeah, make sure it's something you need. Right.
And then there are a few rules with vehicles. Often people say, I want to buy a vehicle before the end of the year. So you're going to want to make sure that if you're looking for an immediate deduction and not having to depreciate it over 5 years, then what you'll want to pay attention to is it needs to be more than 6,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. So once you get over that, you get about $30,000 in Section 179, and then you can bonus up to 60% of the rest of it. But if you do a truck that not only is over that weight, but also has more than a 6-foot bed, that even gets you the ability to write the whole thing off immediately on Section 179. The thing to look out for, though, a lot of people trade in vehicles. So if you're trading in a vehicle, you're now, according to the IRS, you're selling your vehicle for the trade-in value. So you also have to remember that you may have a gain on a sale of a vehicle when you're trying to get a full expense for the new one.
It'll offset some of that tax deduction.
There's also the option if you're worried about cash flow at the end of the year. If you want to take expenses, but you don't necessarily want to deplete your bank, or, if you're not billing your clients until January, then what you can do is you can use your business credit cards to create expenses. Use your business credit cards to purchase items. You'll be able to take the deduction before you're paying your credit card. So you might have a lot of expenses at the end of the year that you want to pay, and then you won't pay that credit card until the next month when, January, when hopefully you'll be collecting on income from
Yeah,
your
because the way
clients
the
in.
rules work, that once you incur that liability through a credit card, you can take that tax deduction. Doesn't matter, like even if you're cash basis or accrual basis, you can take that tax deduction because it's on the credit card, and then you don't have to pay it till like January. It's a good play on taxes and cash flow. Yeah,
Yep.
awesome. Well, really good information, Patty. What about retirement contributions?
So that's another great way at the end of the year. Start thinking about who your employees were for the year and start thinking about what kind of retirements you may want to be able to do. Some of them are more difficult to set up. They may take some time, so you'd want to look immediately.
Right. Like a 401k, you're probably not going to be able to get done before year end, but like a SEP, IRA, stuff like that, definitely something to look into.
Yep. And there's also a lot of new credits that the IRS has set up too. So there's startup credits for starting up some certain plans, retirement plans. So they're
Awesome.
great ideas.
Well, really good information, Patty. So yeah, we're coming into the fourth quarter here. Tax planning and tax estimates are really important. If you're a small business owner and you're worried about taxes and you'd like to go more in depth on some of these issues, feel free to give us a call and we'll help you out. Thanks.